Welcome to the Smiza Stadium, where this evening I'll be speaking to those who have played the most influential parts in St Mirren becoming a fan-owned club. What am I talking about? On the 27th of July 2021, Smiza fans became the majority shareholders of our club, a moment in history which we cannot wait to tell you more about. Within that, I'm going to be talking to some of the Smiza directors, alongside our new chairman, John Needham. Add to that Tony Fitzpatrick, a sprinkling of music for our superstar Al Mitchell, and then add in some of your favourite players with some very signed prizes. I won't tell you any more about it, but stick with me. We're going to have an amazing night and you're going to love it. For our first interview of the evening, we're going to be catching up with Smiza chairman George Adam, who just happens to be casually hanging out in the Tony Fitzpatrick stand. George, what a way to spend an evening. How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Happy to be here.
I was say, it's been a while since you've been in the stadium.
It has indeed. It's been a long time. When it's such an important part of your life, you kind of miss it. Just the actual routine of turning up every second week to see what's happening with football, and I'm looking forward to that happening eventually as well.
As the sprinklers come on. It's been an eventful few days, hasn't it?
It has indeed. It's been quite an eventful 5 years actually, ever since Smiza decided to work with Gordon Scott to try and buy out the club. And I think for me, you know, my hair was brown when I started off in this, but now it's nearly white. So I think some people would say it's probably my day job that's caused that, but I think there's been a lot of kind of difficulties along the way, but it's been an exciting time.
Little challenges, but you seem to have overcome them all.
Yeah, and I think it's been that way all the way through, right from the start. Smiza and myself were sitting down and we thought it was a good idea to try and buy the club because we knew the club was for sale, and we knew the then board, led by Stuart Gilmer, hadn't got any buyers that they wanted to sell to, and who better than the fans themselves. So we kept looking at it, but it was very difficult to get some form of funding for a football club, let alone a fans organisation.
Right. So
that became one of our biggest challenges at that early stage. And then Gordon came out of the blue and had a meeting with us and said he liked this idea of over a 10-year period he would run the club and then we would buy him out. So effectively he funded it, but it was also helpful because the previous board gave us the chance to buy our shares off of them over the first 2 years period.
Right.
So they funded that first 2 years and then Gordon did that. So all in all, there has been many challenges, but we've always found a way to get round them. And I think that's one of the things that I've always liked about this project, is that there's never been there's been difficulties, but there's never been a way not to do it. And then you add the fact we've done it 5 years earlier because of our involvement with Kibble. And what better do you want than your corporate partner being an organisation that makes children and young people's lives better? You know, for a fan organisation, a community club like St Mirren, that's just the perfect. You know, I know the German model is major corporate organisations, but for us, that's just a perfect mix.
And as the chairman of Smiza, so how did that come about?
Well, I went to a couple of meetings, and before I went to meetings, Willie Bell, who was actually one of the kind of great members of the Smiza, and I think it's been a hardcore of Willie Bell, Jim Cummings and a couple of others that were John White, who were constantly doing it themselves, and they were doing a lot of good work. And he came to my constituency office and he said to me one day, he said, George, I would like you to get involved in Smiza. And I said, well, I'm a politician. Yeah. You know, yes, I'm a big St Mirren fan, I'm a politician. You know that just could make Smiza a target. I don't want Smiza to be involved. And he then appealed to my ego and says, I need George Adam. And at that point I says, well, I know exactly what you're doing here to try and manipulate me, Willie, but I'm quite happy to do it. And I went along to the first meeting. By the second meeting, it reminded me of my time in the SNP as a youngster.
Right.
By the second meeting I was chairman of Smiza. So I think it was mainly because they could see me as being leading it and being the kind of spokesperson for the club, or for the fan organisation. And I think that was the big thing for me when it came to talk to Gordon, was my position, not so much me, but my position as an MSP for Paisley gave us that credibility that the fan organisation might not have had. So we had these negotiations then, and they were quite challenging at times as well, but I really got to thank the previous board as well, because they were open to it. Stuart Gilmer was open to it and all his colleagues were, and that's very important that they were open to it as well. And when you look at other clubs, for us, normally when this happens, a club's in crisis, but we were never in crisis. We've done all this when the club hasn't been in crisis financially. It's been a well-run club for the past 20, 30 years. But if you remember back to that, when obviously you were in primary school and I was a teenager, we had a situation where there was a business person wanted to buy the club in the 80s, and it was Stuart Gilmour and his colleagues that got together to save the club then. So I think they felt this was giving it back to the fans and bringing things on and giving it, and as a politician, as Paisley's MSP, it's just a great example of community involvement. I just think it's, and yes, is it going to be difficult? Is it going to be challenging? Yes, but we just need to get on with it. But the big thing for me is that it's fan owned, not fan ran, because we could all sit in a bar, select a bar in Paisley and tell everybody how we think the club should be run. But that we need to leave that to the professionals. And then someone like John Needham as chairman, as our SMISA rep as well, we've got someone who can lead from the front and has an experience. His own CV tells you that he can work in a senior level in management.
So I guess there's a lot of confidence there from the SMISA members, along with yourself as chair and the other directors, knowing that working with St Mirren, the staff there, Chief Executive Tony, and again Kibble as well. So it's all sort of tying in quite nicely, isn't it?
I think it is, and the fact that, as I said earlier, about Kibble giving us this opportunity to do it 5 years earlier. We set out a 10-year plan. We are now doing it 5 years earlier. Again, it's unheard of, because normally it's a club, normally it's a meeting in some community hall somewhere saying our club will die in 2 weeks' time, we need to raise money. We were never in that position. And I think you can see the ambition between what Gordon has done. I can't emphasise how much Gordon has been to this club. He's put his life and soul into the past 5 years into this club, and as he said before, he walked past himself one time when he was out jogging in the sun in Spain.
Of course he did.
That it was effectively when was he his happiest, and he was at a point in his life where he could make that decision and say, could I be part of it? But at the same time, he obviously knew give it on to the fans and ending up doing it from there. And you know, I think Gordon's done a fantastic job from that point of view, and then even knowing that he could work with Kibble and bringing them into the fold as well. And we've been working with them for this past year, and although there has been, fans will say there's been various sticking points over the year, I think it's been a challenging year anyway for everyone. And I think we've got to a stage now where, you know, the future is looking really good for this club, on the football field and off as well.
Well, with that, I think it's probably time to find out what else is going on around the club, but it's been lovely to speak to you.
No, it's nice seeing you again as well.
Yeah. Last time was a burnt supper.
It was, and I got it done, finished on time.
You're very proud of that, aren't you?
I am very proud, because I've been to burnt suppers from hell.
It's always lovely to have a casual catch-up, chilling out in the stadium, which hopefully you will be back in really, really soon. But for now, it's time to head over to the main stand, where Al Mitchell has something very special just for you.
This song's called The Buddies Came Roaring Back, and it's about that famous day in 2007 we came from 2-0 down to beat Motherwell at Fir Park. They said it was over and we won't stay out. Get beaten at Motherwell and the party won't slip out. We are the saints, we won't march on.
since we thought it was a lovely sunny evening, we decided to make sure we made the best of it and showed you every view of the Smiza Stadium we possibly could. And I'm joined by Alan Wardrop. Alan, how are you?
I'm good, it's good. A lovely evening like this, yeah, it's lovely.
I guess you've been in the stadium over the past few months, a lot of the fans haven't, but what's it like?
Guilt-ridden, if
Yeah.
I'm totally honest with you, because basically games like when we beat Rangers 3-2 in the League Cup, you know, you want to be there celebrating with your fellow supporters. So there's that bit of guilt that you are there, but there's the bit whereby you just can't wait to get everybody back.
Well, hopefully that'll be soon. But until then, we've got plenty to talk about. Alan, you're taking up a new role, but tell us a bit about your role as director at St Mirren. How did you get into that in the first place?
Lifelong supporter,
Okay.
born and brought up in the town. I actually caught up with Gordon's partner, April, on Facebook, and we'd been out of touch for years, but we're kids that grew up together. As I was telling you earlier about the kiss, cuddle and toucher.
I wasn't going to land you in it, but
Torture, by the way, the reckon I said someone else there.
you said someone had quite fast. You didn't manage to catch them, is that right?
Torture. So I knew her, we caught up, and she said, "You'll know my partner," and I didn't know who her partner was. He said, "It's Gordon Scott, and he'd like to have a word with you about what's going on at St Mirren," and he'd been engaging with Smiza.
Right.
And we had a meeting, and he said, "Look, if it goes through, if it's successful, would you come and join me?" And I was delighted for the invite, and I can tell you the date because I was in Australia celebrating my 50th birthday.
Oh, wow.
22nd of July 2016. I raised a glass to the start of the supporters taking off.
That is so exciting. And then I guess now, however many years later, it's happened.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it was a 10-year plan.
Yep.
Gordon takes huge credit for putting up his capital to do that. He took the risk that, you know, would Smiza pay him back, etc. It's a commercial risk, but he trusted the supporters, and the supporters have come through. And I think the acceleration with involvement of Kibble has brought that forward to 5 years instead of 10. So
Yeah.
it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
And how fantastic is it being a director at St Mirren? So over the years there'll be challenges, there'll be things, but if there weren't, why would you be here?
It's not always fantastic.
Yep.
I've had a few challenges along the way. I think that, you know, the thing about the club is that you care about it. And when you care about it and you're passionate about it, you put everything into it. So it's not my day job, but it's what I really care about. And I know I share the same passion as other supporters, which is you only want the best for the club. So it's great to be involved in it. It's great to be involved in decision making. There's some benchmarks that I'm hugely proud that I've been involved in.
Fill us in.
Well, 1877 club.
Yep.
Totally love that. I wish we could open it up to every single season ticket holder, but we don't have the capacity. But it's a popular place. It's a nice place. You know, how many bars in Paisley can you go in and sing St Mirren songs without getting thrown out? How many, you know,
In a St Mirren top.
Absolutely. You wear your St Mirren top, you know, you wear your heart on your sleeve, and it's great. And the manager comes in, and the players come in, and win or lose, the players will come in, and they always are treated really, really well. They might not have the best of the game, but we know we're all in it together, and that's pretty special. And the kind of the knock-on effect of that was that when we were planning it, we also got the chance to put in a disabled platform.
Yes.
And again, that's just wonderful. We actually need more of that because we've got 23 members of the Disabled Supporters Association, and we can only accommodate 10.
Right.
So for me, there's more things to do, and that's definitely one of them.
Well, if you want to get involved, you know you still can. You can still be a member of Smiza. It hasn't sort of ended now that fan ownership has taken place.
No, it definitely hasn't, and I really like the idea. I mean, I've been a member of Smiza, as well as taking an appointment as a director representing Smiza members. I've been a Smiza member for years,
Right.
and I can quite clearly see the job that the committee are doing, which is great. And I've shared with them some ideas and talking about the museum and stuff like that, and they've quite clearly mapped out where they're going to put future contributions. So they're not buying any more shares, but basically there's the revenue. So if you're used to paying that kind of money, then we can keep it going. And they've laid out quite clearly. And one of the things, again, I'm involved in is the St Mirren Charitable Foundation.
Yes.
And it's lovely that they've agreed to put, I think it's 10% of the revenue to the charity. That's a huge relief to the charity, you know, for funding. So a lot of good been done. So I really hope Smiza members continue their contributions.
So plenty been done, plenty still to do.
Yeah.
But a big thank you to you.
Well, all of us. I think all of us, because as a board we work well together, and you know, Gordon he really takes a lot of credit. You need a leader.
Yep.
Gordon's been our leader. He's handing over the baton now to John Needham, and John's a smashing guy. He'll thank me for this. I'll give him his full CV. He's a good guy. He's a 1877 club member. So, and I know from his family, the lifelong supporters. So I'm delighted for John, and I think it's the right time to hand that baton on. And John's a good guy to take it forward.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And congratulations on your new role as SMISA director.
Thank you. Yeah, very proud of it.
Sure you should be. We'll leave you now from between the W7 and the away stand. We keep going to call it the North Bank and the North Stand. It just doesn't sound right. So W7 and the away stand. It's time to hear from you and what you think about fan ownership here at the SMISA Stadium.
I'm very excited about fan ownership at the club. It will be good to have a voice in the boardroom. We are a family, community-based club, and it's important that we capture the future generations to come and support the team in Paisley. So for me, I think this is a great leap forward.
I think the buying of the club's been absolutely great. There's been a real buzz about the place since we get the numbers to do it. I think generally speaking that's continued ever since. After being a member for so long, right from the very start, it means a lot that everybody's got together and done this now. And hopefully all the good work continues that the club that this trust's been doing for the youth academy and for the charitable trust helping things like that as well. Long may it continue. Come on, you Saints.
I've always been proud to support St Mirren, but now they are fan owned, I'm even prouder to say I support my team. Fan ownership means a lot to St Mirren as it allows the supporters who care the most about the club to put its best interests first, meaning that the club will not be put in a difficult situation without the fans having a say. The future of St Mirren is in the fans' hands, and that's the best thing for the club.
Connection to St Mirren goes way back to my grandfather attending the 1926 Scottish Cup win over Celtic. Myself, my sons and my grandchildren are now all season ticket holders. Fan ownership is a massive positive step forward as it protects our beloved club for future generations to come. St Mirren is not just a football club, it's a way of life 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, and I feel privileged to be a part of our great club.
I see fan ownership safeguarding the club for the present and for future generations. It allows the fans influence and control over the major club decisions, ensuring we never suffer the consequences that's happened elsewhere. I also see it as an opportunity to build on where we are now, on and off the park, to consistently be one of Scotland's top teams for Paisley and Renfrewshire to be proud of.
I have supported St Mirren since I was 6. I've seen players, managers, chairmen come and go. But for us fans, the team that you support is part of your identity. In a sense then, fan ownership is not new, but we've always done it. I am proud to have helped that notion to become a reality, and I look forward to our team going on to great achievements in the future.
So what does fan ownership mean to me? Well, there's a couple of words to describe my feelings in this. I think, first of all, it's relief, knowing that the club has been run by St Mirren people, us as fans, the board, and I think Kibble makes a wonderful partnership, and I can't wait to see how that pans out in future. It's the family feeling. It's getting a wee smile or a wave from your fellow fans every Saturday. It's getting a hug from Tony Fitz when it was allowed. It's just knowing that you'll see your familiar faces every Saturday, home and away. The biggest word is pride, and it's pride in owning that wee bit of a club that my grandpa used to work for. It's pride in that wee club that I get slagged off for supporting growing up in Hamilton. It's pride in a club that's forged lifelong friendships. I get to spend time with my family every Saturday, and it's that wee club that's got a wee bit of my heart, and the club I just can't wait to get back to supporting home and away from the stands instead of in the sofa, and hopefully that will be sooner rather than later.
For me, St Mirren's club culture is all about the people in the town and the community, and that's why fan ownership is such a good model for us. There's no risk now that the people who own the club will ever turn our backs on it, regardless of what happens on the pitch. And the fact that we have no agenda other than the best interest of the club, I think, is a really powerful thing. Fan ownership brings increased stability and transparency and sustainability, and I'm just really excited to see what happens next. Come on, you Saints.
First off, a big well done to everybody at Smiza for all the hard work that you've put in over the years. You've done a great job, and well done in getting over the line. I'm really looking forward to seeing the future at the club and how the fan ownership model is going to work. What other projects you guys can push forward. Really looking forward to it. All the best for the future. Well done.
Hi, I'm Gail Brannigan. I'm the Chief Executive of St Mirren Football Club's Charitable Foundation. Firstly, congratulations to Smiza members, boards and the board of St Mirren Football Club on finally achieving your dual goal of fan ownership. It's a really exciting and historic period for both the club and the community. Since our relaunch in November of 2018, Smiza members have been so supportive in everything that we are trying to achieve here at the Foundation. They have all shown a genuine passion and interest in all of our key objectives, often volunteering human resources and financial aid and assistance, which helps us to deliver our programmes and initiatives. Recently, the board of Smiza and all of their members made the decision on how their annual income would be allocated, and 10% of those funds are now being given directly to the foundation, which is absolutely massive for us. We are still a fledgling organisation, and those funds are unrestricted, which means they can go towards our core running costs, but also, more importantly, towards the new programmes that we wish to deliver later on in 2021. Fan ownership for us means even clearer and more direct lines of communication between the foundation and the people who we serve, which is the community, the fans. So thank you for all of your support. Congratulations on reaching this pinnacle, and good luck. Make it count.
Gordon, thank you so much for taking the time to have a wee chat with us. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Relaxing down in Spain, working down here, and finding something else to keep me occupied just now.
I was going to say, you've been handing over your shares. How does that feel?
It was very emotional at the time. I think we always set a 10-year plan to do this. I'm delighted we've done it in 5 years. I think from my own personal point of view, the stress level involved when you're at the football club every day and you're getting hands-on every day, I do think 5 years is probably enough for anybody to have to deal with that. I don't want that to sound as if I'm doing a lot. I was doing everything myself, far from it. But I tend to take things on my shoulders, and I tend to look at everything involved in the football club, and I take everything very personally, and I deal with everything very personally. I look at everything as if it's a reflection of me. So it has been a relief, albeit that relief has happened probably over the last year as we've kind of worked towards a better model for fan ownership.
And do you think, I know you were mentioning about all the things that you were doing and how stressful it was, but you've enjoyed a lot of it, haven't you?
Oh no, I've enjoyed every minute of it. I mean, there's very rarely, I mean, we've had a lot of ups and downs, but the majority have been ups. And I think, when I think back, the only time I really felt bad was the first half of the All Saints game in the Challenge Cup, when we were terrible. And I actually thought that's the only time during that season, even though we were so many points behind, that's the only time in that season I thought we might get relegated here. And that's probably the only time throughout the whole time I was involved that I really felt this could really go bad. But it was only for one half. Then Stephen McGinn got involved and dragged us up by the bootstraps, and we won that game obviously, and onwards and upwards from there.
Thinking about the past 5 years and how quick it has come about, it must be very exciting for you to see all that hard work now pay off.
I think everybody associated with the club, from the directors to the staff, have obviously played a massive part in that. And I think we're all delighted to see where we are and see the potential again for this season. I think a lot of the work we've done over the last 4 or 5 years has enabled us to take a little bit of a calculated gamble in terms of where we are with the budget and things this season. And it's good. It's nice to see all that. We'd always planned to do that anyway, whether the fan ownership happened sooner or later. So it's nice to be able to do that and reward the fans, because again, it's a nightmare obviously not having them at games, but the fact that we've been able to bring that happiness to a lot of people through last season, through the semi-finals, even though last year, most successful season in probably 30 or 40 years, but it still feels like I don't know, it just felt like we were so close and yet so far away from doing something really special.
And thinking about that successful season, how proud are you to have played a huge role in that?
Oh, well, you can't put it into words. As a St Mirren fan, you dream about that sort of thing. You dream about that kind of season. And one of my friends was saying he feels sorry for his son because obviously we got to 2 semi-finals in 1 year, and his son, I think it was at a League Cup final. But for our team to get there twice in the 1 year, for him not to be able to go, I had to reassure him we'll make sure we get to plenty more. But it was that kind of brought a lot home to me.
And what reassurance is there for fans? Because obviously the plan is 5 years earlier than expected, but also you're not leaving the club. You're now not the chairman, but you've handed that over to John Needham, but you're still part of the club very much so.
I'm still enthusiastic. I still see tremendous potential for the stadium, for the surrounding areas. We looked at it before, and it's something I think the involvement with Kibble will actually help us in terms of our plans for these things. So no, I can see tremendous opportunities for the club to kind of progress even more off the park as well as on the park.
And what are you looking to do stepping forward into your role? Because you're now a director of SMISA, so how's that going to work?
I'd like to think that we always had. I mean, if SMISA ever wanted to talk to me, my door was always open. If fans wanted to talk to me, I mean, I went out in Paisley for a beer. I would happily talk about anything and everything. So my role as a SMISA director is really to do all these things, but I feel as if I was doing them anyway. It might involve a bit more conversation with SMISA, but I felt as if we're always together in it anyway. I don't see that things have changed dramatically.
So continuing a wonderful working and friendship relationship, I guess.
Exactly. I mean, I don't think the guys from SMISA really get enough credit because, I mean, there's obviously 2 guys who have been there from day one, and Colin Orr and George Adam. They obviously were part of our original discussions for taking the club over. But I mean, these guys, they've been trustworthy when we've been having even the whole way through the discussions about buying the club, when there's things that are confidential. And these are all big factors for me when I'm thinking, well, is the time right to hand things over? If I wasn't completely comfortable with these guys, I wouldn't be sitting here saying, well, let's do it in 5 years. I'd be saying, no, we need to try and do things and change things. So I'm really comfortable that we have a really good SMISA board and a really good club board now.
You're making me very excited for the season and for the years ahead, Gordon. Thank you so much for talking to us tonight. I know you're enjoying Spain, so I won't keep you away from that wonderful sunset that's about to come out.
Okay, thank you. Pleasure.
The winners of our signed footballs are Derek Ramsey,
Craig Devine, John McGonigal, William Shankland, Patrick Gilmore, Ben Deacon.
Now, where do you think I would find the chairman of St Mirren Football Club? Pitch side, of course. Congratulations, John. It's wonderful to have you here at the SMISA Stadium. I bet you've been itching to get out and just chat about your new role.
Oh, absolutely. It's been quite a whirlwind this last week, and I've gone from not quite believing it's happened to now realising that I've really got a job in my hands. So looking forward to it.
Did you have to pinch yourself?
Very much so. I mean, I when I joined the board a year ago, I would never have envisaged being the chairman in such a short space of time, or ever at all, frankly. So yeah, it's taken a bit of getting used to.
And what about your family? Have they got used to it at all? What are they saying?
Well, when I phoned my dad last week to tell him, he was beside himself. Absolutely, I mean, he's followed St Mirren since he was a kid, and he's now in his 80s. So for him, he was quite emotional about it. Yeah.
Be very proud.
Yes, absolutely. As are my brothers and my nephew, and everyone in the family. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I guess you're in straight away. There's probably in your mind lots of things that you want to do, but what do you think your first steps are going to be?
Trying to assess where I can help is the first thing. I've just actually had a really good meeting with Tony, just to try and find out where he thinks I can support him, and where I can add value. I've got a lot of experience from industry, from business, and whilst I don't want to get in the road, I really would like to see if I can add some value to Tony's position and the way he goes about things. So that's the first thing. I've got some ideas about areas that I think we could do better as a club, and most fans do, that's for sure. So yeah, there's a few areas that I've already chatted to Tony around that I think we can improve on. Yeah.
So you got your fan hat on at one moment and then your chairman hat on at the other.
Yeah, I think you never stop being a fan.
Yep.
That's for sure. But yeah, there's a lot of responsibility comes with the role, and I really want to make sure that my tenure as chairman, however long that is, continues the progress that Gordon and made before I arrived. Yeah.
And there's been a lot of positivity about this role, and of course yourself taking over it. What do you think, with new members taking up the SMISA membership, that's something that's happened a wee bit more since the announcement? Do you think a lot of people are trying to find out more than maybe before?
Yeah, I think the takeover happening last week has definitely, put the fan ownership in the spotlight again. Yeah. And given it a new impetus, and we've actually signed up dozens of new members, which we never anticipated happening without pushing that button as such. So that's really encouraging, and it shows that people want to stick with it because we've explained how we're going to spend the money going forward, and it's really important to keep that flow of income for the club in the future.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because a lot of people think, well, you're now majority fan owners.
Yep.
You've purchased the shares. What does the money go towards next?
Well, we've put that to our members, and they've unanimously backed that. So 50% of the money will be held as a reserve for a rainy day, if you like,
right.
And allow us potentially to assist with bigger things in the future, and those things would be put to the members before the money was handed over. 30% is going to go to the academy.
Wow.
And that will, at the moment, that's about £50,000 will go to the academy every year. So Alan McManus is a very happy man.
He'd be delighted. No wonder he was singing down the corridor.
Yeah, so he was delighted when we shared that with him, and I think that's St Mirren's a club that have reared fantastic youth players and young players over the years, so that will help to sustain that. And the other 20% is going to be split between small projects, which again the members will get a chance to vote on, and also 10% to the charitable foundation as well, which is really important because we want to push the community side of the club even further than has been done up till now.
Because we are a family club, that's what a lot of people know is that.
Yeah.
And I guess, do your family come to the games?
Oh,
That's something you're going to be? Yeah, they do.
On occasion we have our own row over there in the West Stand, and I know a lot of other people. I was speaking to one guy who I went to primary school with, and he was saying I think 23 members of his family come to games, from time to time, which is just incredible.
That's amazing.
And
I love that.
I think Paisley's is a bit like that. It's a big village really in a lot of ways. So we need to really use that community feel and build on it for the future success of the club. Yeah.
Well, it sounds really exciting, John. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you here.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the very best, as does everybody at St Mirren and SMISA.
Oh, I'm absolutely. I must say thank you to everyone who sent me messages and good wishes. It's been quite heartwarming. So I just hope I can deliver success in the way we have in the last 4 or 5 years as well.
You're making me emotional now. This is fabulous. Hiya Tony, how are you?
I'm great, Ali. How are you?
I'm good.
Good to hear.
Nice to be able to just sit down and have a wee chat, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know, it is. Yes, very much so.
We're buzzing about all day long.
Yeah.
You're so busy all the time. There's plenty happening, but this week's been quite historic, hasn't it?
That's the word we used there, Ali, historic. It's been a fantastic time for the football club. I think it's everything everybody's always wanted who are within the club and supporters. So to be sitting here today speaking to you and saying the fans are the major shareholder of St Mirren Football Club is just, honestly, it's wonderful.
Because it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? It's not something that's just happened overnight. Lots of people working behind the scenes, and I guess probably doing a little bit of research into has that worked for other clubs and how will it work for us?
No, definitely, as you say, it's been a long time in the making. I think, as you say, looking at different models of, not just myself, this has been a number of people, as you know, we've been looking at Germany, France, all different places where clubs are owned by their fans and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's been a long time, but do you know what? It just feels so good to be part of this.
And it feels so good around the club at the moment, isn't there? There's been some summer signings. There's, of course, been a great pre-season.
Yeah.
The season before has been fab. There's
Yeah.
so much to build on. Are you excited?
Very excited, as I say. It was just with a great season last year. Let's not take away from that, but we want to build on that, as you say, and I think it starts from pre-season. And I've got to be honest, the pre-season in Belfast, with the new players in, remember we've brought in 5 or 6 new players, and real quality players. When you look at St Mirren Football Club now, no disrespect to players in the past, but you look at the quality, and I'm not going to mention them all because I might miss one out, but there's, no, it's a different level now at St Mirren Football Club. We keep saying we're a top 6 club, but I think we're acting like it now, which is so important.
And do you think with SMISA and the fan ownership and everything that's happened over the years, it's allowed us to be able to purchase players maybe at a different level than we would have in the past?
No, definitely. That's the hard work that SMISA have put in, and the resources, the fans, the money every month they pay in. Hopefully they're seeing the benefits now of this football club. Last year we were 2 goals away from European football. We were 2 semi-finals where we could get into finals and maybe win them. But it's progression now. And as I say, I think when you're fan owned like that, it does, it's even more special, than, no disrespect again, but maybe some big company somewhere owning the football club or one individual. So, as I say, a big smile on my face all week. I just can't believe this came true now.
And I'm thinking all the fans are going to have smiles on their face. Our season started at the weekend there. Loads of positives to take out of that, wasn't there?
No, definitely. As I say again, when you look at the quality of player, the recruitment Jim and that's brought in, you're going away for the game on Saturday, and this is what you like to be at St Mirren, where we'd have been happy before, maybe going and getting a point somewhere. You're disappointed because we have got that mindset now. We're a top 6 club. Even we need to go and challenge even further than that, but let's keep that mindset at the club. And
talking about how positive the first team have been, also the development squad as well. They did so well last season, and so few people even know about it. No, you're right, Ali, and as I say, there's a special group of young players there who you'll see a few. Dylan Rees made his debut this year off of that under-18s team, but there'll be many more coming through there. You watch in a year's time or so. Is this a wee exclusive?
Yes, but you're right. They were in the playoff with Rangers to go into the European League. Just unfortunately, they never made it. But it's not just about results at that level, it's about development. And we've got even Rangers, Celtic are desperate to get some of our kids. We've got some of the best kids in the country. And I think with the fan ownership and the money that brings, it's enabling us to help that development squad and continue their growth, isn't it? Well, very much so. And when you talk about fan ownership and, as you say, players, we're a family here. We keep saying this. And I know words are easy to say. We're a family community club, but we're all part of the family, and it feels more like that now because the fans know they're the major shareholder of this football club. And I'll keep repeating it. I know it sounds, but it's a historic time for St Mirren. I love the smile it brings to your face. Well, wishing everyone here at St Mirren a great season. Well, thank you, Alan. I know with all what you've seen behind the scenes, you're part of this, and everybody's working so hard. And I just love to thank the fans for being able to make this dream come true for St Mirren Football Club, and the support they've given us, even with season tickets. I know there's been a lot of things, a lot of changes, but good changes within the football club, if I can say this, Ali, because change is difficult for everyone, and we're going through that in a minute. But all these changes are to make us, on and off the park, a world-class club. And it's going to take time, but we're all working hard on that. Lots of changes, and with changes come challenges, but those can be overcome. Of course they are. Of course they can. Yes. Loving it. Well, thank you so much for joining us for a fantastic evening. Hope you've enjoyed this evening. We definitely have. And you've seen a little bit behind the scenes as just how St Mirren became a majority fan-owned club.
This song's called Will You Go, Buddies Go. On the 16th day of May, in the year Kaiser scored his goal. He had the greatest Christmas ever. Well, he's gold, and we'll all go together as we stand side by side. We'll support the Saints forever. Well, please go. At Hampton one winter's day,